Angel Reese just got suspended by the Chicago Sky after screaming fake racism over Caitlin Clark's fans.
This screenshot, it shows Clark walking away from Reese after the foul with the message, "White gal running from the fade." Reese then spoke to reporters about how the alleged racism hurled her way.
Obviously, there's no place in this league for that. I think the WNBA, our team and our organization has done a great job supporting me. I've had communication.
What exactly is your evidence that anything at all happened to you involving racism from the Fever fans?
Her own insecurities are eating her alive, and now she's attacking Clark and the fan base to cover it up. WNBA investigated everything and found zero evidence. It was all made up in Angel's head.
She acted crazy. She acted wild. She acted like it was some big deal when it was really a nothing burger.
All right, buckle up, because this is one of those stories that exposes everything fake happening in the sports world right now. Angel Reese, the so-called self-proclaimed queen of the WNBA, just got suspended by her own team, the Chicago Sky. Yeah, suspended. But here's the fun part. They actually tweeted the suspension, probably thought they were being bold for once. But within minutes, they chickened out and deleted the whole thing like it never happened. Unfortunately for them, I've got the screenshots. You're welcome. The truth is out, no matter how hard they try to cover it.
The Daily Mail reported that Reese's coach and team only found out about the racism allegations when everyone else did, and they were not aware of any hate speech during the game.
Now let's get real for a second. This isn't some little harmless benching. This is a full-blown PR disaster for Angel Reese. You know, the same Angel Reese who's been parading around pretending to be the face of women's basketball while single-handedly turning the league into a circus. From race hoaxes to ridiculous temper tantrums to her endless stream of excuses, she has officially wrecked her own reputation, and Chicago Sky finally decided they're done cleaning up after her.
Anonymous social media commentators saying there was racism. Oh, that's how you began your investigation? So nobody in the arena was actually complaining? She wasn't complaining? You, the coaches, didn't hear anything?
The WNBA's weak little investigation? That was just embarrassing. The fake racism narrative completely collapsed like a cheap lawn chair. But the suspension? That's real, and they tried to erase it. Chicago Sky tweeted on June 29th, suspended for defaming the team. But lucky for all of us, the internet never forgets, and neither do I. So let's break down how Angel Reese basically handed herself this humiliation on a silver platter.
Going through this whole process, obviously, it could happen to me, it could happen to anyone, and I think they've done a great job supporting us in this.
How did it affect you Saturday, trying to do your job, trying to play, and having this going on simultaneously?
Yeah, obviously it's tough, but I think I have a great support system. I'm loved by so many people.
It all started on May 17th, 2025. WNBA season opener. Indiana Fever versus Chicago Sky. But really, let's be honest, this wasn't a game. It was a straight-up public execution on live TV. Caitlin Clark, who's already rewriting the history books of basketball, completely destroyed Angel Reese and the Sky. Caitlin casually dropped a historic triple-double like it was nothing. Meanwhile, Angel Reese, who talks a bigger game than anyone, put up another weak, forgettable performance. Final score, Indiana Fever 93, Chicago Sky 58. That's a 35-point annihilation. You can't even sugarcoat that.
This is the priority. Obviously, there's no place for this, and they preach. I think 2 days before they put out no hate, no speech. And obviously, the women in this league, they know that, and know there's no space for that.
But of course, Angel Reese being Angel Reese, she couldn't just take the L and walk away. Nope. Her ego couldn't handle getting exposed by Caitlin Clark on national television. So what did she do? She lost it. After a routine hard foul by Caitlin, literally standard basketball, Angel went full WWE, chasing Clark across the court like she was auditioning for Monday Night Raw.
And it was started by Angel Reese freaking out about a normal foul. That's what all this started off as.
It was honestly embarrassing to watch. Caitlin Clark, cool as ice, called it just basketball, because that's exactly what it was. But Angel's ego? It couldn't survive that kind of humiliation. And let's face it, Caitlin Clark's out here making history while Angel Reese is out here making excuses. That's the real scoreboard.
You were subjected to racism? What specifically? What happened? It was hard to hear. If it can happen to me, it can happen to... And did it happen to you? What exactly is your evidence that anything at all happened to you?
But hold on. The drama didn't stop there. Hours after her little on-court meltdown, Angel Reese decided to flip the entire narrative. Suddenly, it wasn't about her getting smoked by 35 points or acting like a toddler in a tantrum. Nope. Now it was about racism from Indiana Fever fans. Because apparently, when your performance sucks and your temper's out of control, you can just throw the racism card and hope people forget what actually happened.
The WNBA 10 days to announce the results of its investigation, releasing a statement on Tuesday reading, based on information gathered to date, including from relevant fans, teams, and arena staff, as well as audio and video review of the game, we have not substantiated it.
She even posted that infamous TikTok video, which, surprise, surprise, she deleted later. But again, the internet never forgets. In that video, she captioned the moment Caitlin Clark walked away from her, with white gal running from the fade. Because when you've got nothing to show for your performance, I guess playing the race card is all that's left. But it gets better. Suddenly, there were wild claims of monkey noises and racist abuse coming from the Fever fans. But this entire mess started from random trolls on social media. Not a single person in the arena reported anything. But of course, that didn't stop Angel from milking the victim narrative for all it was worth.
Maintain the basketball. Reese misses.
Who in a crowded arena would actually do such a thing, right? It's like the people who think that there are racists and racism everywhere in America, those are the ones who go to that place.
And what does the WNBA do when their loudest, most controversial player starts crying racism? They jump right in with an official investigation, like they're solving Watergate. They put out statements, they virtue signal, they act like this is some huge national crisis. Meanwhile, even Angel's own coach and teammates were completely clueless. They found out about these so-called racism allegations at the same time as the rest of us, by watching the headlines blow up. You can't make this stuff up. The whole thing was a clown show from start to finish.
If this was the other way around, oh Lord, you can only imagine how the conversation would have gone.
When it comes to racism and the hateful rhetoric and the statement that the WNBA is saying, I think it's important because at the end of the day, if you are truly a basketball fan, you would understand and agree. We have no space in our game for those types of comments.
People are using this situation as a cover for their innate vitriol and maybe their innate kind of racism or racial tension or racial misunderstanding. And now that they have been given a reason, at least a reason that they're going to try to take, which is Angel Reese reacting to Caitlin Clark's foul, now this is their opportunity to say what they always wanted to say, but they needed a mask to put on to cover up the innate whether it's racism or the innate prejudice or just the innate hate that they have for Angel Reese and the way in which she carries herself.
Okay. You heard the one commentator say those types of comments. What comments were they, sir? What specifically? Walk us through them. He has no idea. And Acho alluding to fans being comfortable spewing racism while wearing masks. What was the racism that was spewed? What masks? What? Again, what evidence are you citing? Walk us through it. You're a journalist, right?
But it doesn't end there. After 10 days, yes, 10 full days, the WNBA finally completed their groundbreaking investigation. They reviewed audio, they interviewed arena staff, they watched game footage like it was the Zapruder film. And guess what they found? Absolutely nothing. No evidence. Zero. The grand total of their big racism investigation was pure social media hysteria with zero proof. Honestly, at this point, even people who wanted to believe Angel Reese had to admit this was a bad joke.
That we're pretending something happened that did not. This is Angel Smollett, ladies and gentlemen, not the first time she's accused racism of being a part of this, and it certainly won't be the last.
Let's get real. The WNBA is over 60% black. This league takes racism seriously. You think they'd sweep something like that under the rug? Please. If there was real racism, it would have been front-page news. But even they couldn't stretch this into reality. The so-called monkey noises Angels fans were screeching about? Turns out they were New Year-style noisemakers. You know, the ones people bring to games to distract free-throw shooters. But leave it to Angel Reese's squad to turn basic crowd noise into some civil rights movement level scandal.
This is all too often nowadays in sports, specifically when black athletes have bad games or get criticized or fly off the handle or act thuggish or whatever it may be. They say, well, I heard somebody say the N-word. I can't, I lose my temper when I hear stuff like that.
Meanwhile, ESPN's brightest minds like Monica McNutt and Emmanuel Acho lined up to embarrass themselves. They jumped on TV parroting Angel's fake victim narrative without a shred of evidence, preaching about racism with zero receipts. But hey, who needs facts when you've got outrage clicks to chase, right? They bought the lie, sold it to the public, and now they're scrambling for excuses just like Angel Reese.
Hear this stuff? It is complete and total bullshit, especially if it's coming from a loser like Angel Reese. So yeah.
That's how we got here. Angel Reese suspended, Chicago Sky scrambling, and the entire league humiliated because one player couldn't handle getting clowned by Caitlin Clark. And they tried to hide it, but like I said, I've got the screenshots. The truth's out.
She sometimes publicly plays the victim. Racist comments were directed at her in the arena.
Let's just call it what it is. Angel Reese has officially been crowned the Jussie Smollett of the WNBA. You know it's bad when conservative media starts roasting you with nicknames like Angel Smollett, and you can't even argue back because deep down it's painfully accurate. I mean, this girl pulled off a full-blown race hoax, tried to flip the narrative, and still couldn't make a single decent jumper to save her life. Imagine being compared to Jussie Smollett and somehow having worse shooting stats than him, and he's not even a basketball player. But hey, credit where it's due, Angel's mastered one thing: playing the victim better than she plays the actual game.
Chicago Sky, home to player Angel Jussie Smollett Reese.
The stats speak for themselves. Angel Reese has been hyped as the Bayou Barbie, this future icon for women's basketball, and yet every time she steps on the court, it's just more disappointment. Her shooting percentage? Straight up pathetic. Her performances? Weak at best, laughable most nights. But don't worry, every time she stumbles, there's always some made-up controversy ready to distract from how badly she's getting outplayed. It's predictable at this point.
That's what all this started off as. And instead of celebrating your superstar, you turned it into a hunt for racism that didn't fucking exist. Pathetic from the WNBA.
The WNBA tried so hard to shield her, protect her image, and keep the fake victimhood narrative alive. But reality has a funny way of smacking you in the face. No racist abuse happened. No fans were out there doing what Angel claimed. All that noise? Manufactured drama from a player who couldn't stomach losing to Caitlin Clark. It's not just embarrassing. It's exposing the entire house of cards Angel built for herself.
Makes this league pathetic. It's an amateur league. I mean, it's lost money every single year of its existence, so obviously it's an amateur league. But it truly is.
Even ESPN's Chenai Ogwumike had to backpedal so hard after this disaster. She jumped right on the train when the fake racism allegations started, amplifying the nonsense, only to get smacked with the truth when the investigation came back with zero evidence. Her apology? Classic damage control. She tweets, "I'll do better," like that magically erases the fact she was part of pushing a false narrative. But the damage is done. Angel Reese's credibility is gone, her reputation is toast, and no amount of PR spin is gluing it back together.
Headline: WNBA unable to verify, quote, hateful fan comments, unquote, toward Angel Reese.
What's hilarious is how Angel Reese still tries to ride the social media fame wave like she's some unstoppable force. Yeah, let's give her a little clap. She hit that milestone of 500 points and 500 rebounds. First to ever do it that fast. But here's the thing. When your off-court antics overshadow your actual game, nobody cares about your stat sheet. Angel's become the loudest, most obnoxious voice on racism in the WNBA, yet the irony? She's fueling division more than she's uniting anyone.
The reality is, nothing was said racially towards Angel Reese in any way, shape, or form.
She's built an entire brand off outrage, controversy, and pity parties, but ask yourself, what has she actually done for the sport? Besides being the walking PR disaster of the league, not much. Meanwhile, real ballers like Caitlin Clark are out here changing the game, making history, and somehow still catching more heat than Angel, all because she dares to play better. Fans are saying the only racism that needs to be investigated was by the referees who were ignoring blatant fouls to affect the outcome of the game, so Caitlin Clark and the Fever wouldn't win. And let's not ignore the elephant in the room, the hidden racism nobody wants to talk about. While Angel Reese is busy inventing fake hate crimes for attention, Brittany Griner was caught mouthing something during a later game that sounded an awful lot like "fucking white girl," directed right at Caitlin Clark. That clip went viral fast, but the media? Silent. Griner faced no questions, no backlash, not even a slap on the wrist. The double standard couldn't be more obvious. When anti-white racism happens, everyone suddenly loses their voice. But the second Angel Reese fabricates a story about racism, full-blown media circus, investigations, statements, outrage, you name it. The hypocrisy is off the charts. Angel Reese fakes racism, plays the victim, gets exposed, and somehow the league and media still coddle her while ignoring the real issues happening right under their noses. But even the Chicago Sky has their limits. After weeks of watching Angel fumble games, stir up controversy, and drag the team's name through the mud, they finally pulled the plug. They suspended her. Quietly, of course, because God forbid they own their decision publicly. They tweeted the announcement, probably patted themselves on the back for finally taking action, then panicked and deleted it like cowards. But too bad for them, I got the screenshots. This is the ultimate truth they tried so hard to bury, but you can't erase reality. The suspension confirms everything the fans already knew. Angel Reese isn't just a liability on the court, she's a disaster off it too. Her attitude, her mouth, her constant drama, it's not worth the headache. Chicago Sky might pretend like they still support her publicly, but behind the scenes, they've had enough. They're tired of cleaning up her mess, tired of the bad headlines, and clearly tired of losing games because of her.